to me, sorry. Um, but I've been asking the Lord, what is it that He wants me to share today? And I did a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm not sure, where we're going to go with it, but we'll see. All right, so I wanted to, let's just pray first, and then we'll get started. God, we come to you today, and Lord, you know all the things that I have prepared, and I just ask that whatever it is you want me to say is what I will say, that you will anoint me to speak your truth, and your word is truth. And Lord, that you would be with us today in this place, and Lord, that you would move over our lives. We love you, we praise you, we exalt you. We thank you for being with us. We thank you that you are our security, Lord. Help us today. In Jesus' name, amen. So, the devil has a plan for your life. Did you know that? He has a plan for your life. But whatever the devil has planned for you, God will take it and he will change it and he will make it for your good and for his good. And today, I want to talk about being secure in God's hands. And I wanted to talk about life. And life has its ups and downs. How many of you have had the ups? How many of you had the downs? Oh, by the way, I just see somebody here. Casey and Ethan, right? They're engaged, by the way. Last time I forgot to tell them, and now I see them here, so now I have to say it. So Casey and Ethan are engaged, and they're getting married next June 18th. Did I remember correctly? Okay. So congratulations to them. Let's congratulate them. All right. Nobody else is getting married or anything that I don't know, right? Okay. Okay, so life is filled with ups and downs. We've all had ups and we've all had downs. How many of you have been had the downs? We've all had them. Trials. Trials are hard, and nobody wants them. Nobody wants to go through hard stuff. But the Bible tells us in the papers that I gave you, if you look on the back of your paper, it says there's some verses. And it says James 1 and 2, 1, 2, and 1, 3. It says, everybody get your paper. Do you have a paper? If you have a paper, Gary's got, raise your hand if you need a paper. I'm going to make you guys do some work today. So, anybody, if you raise your hand if you need one, and he'll bring you one. It says in James 1, let's read it together. My brothers and sisters, be very happy when you are tested in different ways. You know that such testing of your faith produces endurance. Endure until your testing is over. Then you will be mature and complete, and you won't need anything. If any of you needs wisdom to know what you should do, you should ask God, and he will give it to you. God is generous to everyone and doesn't find fault with them. So the first thing, we're all going to have trials. We're all going to go through bad things. It's just life. I think when I first became a Christian, I thought to myself, well, I've got Jesus. It's all going to be okay. Yeah, it's all going to be okay, but it's not free of hard stuff. Life is not free of hard stuff. And I think that sometimes we kind of get this feeling that because we have Jesus that we won't have to go through hard stuff. And that's not true. And I think the church kind of taught that long ago without realizing it, that, we have Jesus, we're going to be fine. So we all have Christians walking around all, how is everything? Oh, I'm good. Nobody ever says how they're feeling, or we hide our pain, or we hide our trials because we're supposed to be good. Well, you know what? We're supposed to be good in spite of our trials. We're supposed to have God's strength with us to help us go through the trials. So life is filled with trials. I've had a few of them myself. And in the last few years here, it seems like the trials were so overwhelming. I don't know if you've ever had this, but, I have prayed a lot. I have cried a lot. I have gone to bed at night just feeling so stressed about what was going on, and learning how to take that stress and give it to Jesus and let him help me through the stuff of what's going on, whatever was going on at the time. And so I have been learning, what are the lessons I'm learning? One of the lessons that I'm learning, so that I'm reading this wrong. The lesson I'm learning is that I have no control over anything in this life. It is only through God's grace and mercy that I can live. He gives me breath, and he keeps my body functioning so I can do what each day brings. one day I'm going to go meet him. And I'm getting older, so I know it's coming, right? I'm going to go meet him, and it's going to be so amazing. It's going to be so glorious, because before we meet Jesus, he prepares us to meet him. He gives, I believe this. He gives everybody many chances to meet him, many chances to follow him. And some of us do it early, some of us wait till the end. But it doesn't matter when you do it. The point is that you do it. But so I've been asking the Lord, I've been a Christian for a while, and I've been asking the Lord, how do I walk through these things without feeling overcome by them, without feeling overwhelmed by them, and learning to trust him in the midst of whatever. It's really tough when it's your children, because, you love your children so much. You would die for them because they are your children, And a husband, you love him, you love your husband or your wife too, but they're an adult. Children, even when they become adults, they still seem like children to you, and you never get past that. And so when your kids are going through terrible things, you go through those terrible things too. And one of the biggest things I think I struggled with in the last couple of years is Ashley, and thinking that, she was going to die. And I didn't want her to die. But coming to the place in my life where I could say, Lord, if you want her to die, then I trust you that you're going to take care of it. You're going to take care of the situation. I give her to you, whatever your will is. Of course, we say that to the Lord. Whatever your will is, Lord, just do it. But we have our desires too. And our desires as parents would always be, save my child. But what about all those people out there whose children didn't get saved? And how do they walk through that, And so I just remember feeling very overwhelmed by it, and praying and asking the Lord to please spare her life. Please do a miracle. Lord, you could change it in a moment. Please change it. Why, Lord? Why are we going through this? Why do we have to do this? And then there's that other part where you say to the Lord, God, I just want my kids to follow you. I want them to be saved, because I want them to be in heaven forever with me and with you. And then the Lord allows all the things that he allows in our lives so that prayer can be answered. And sometimes, in order for God to answer the prayers that you have and the desires that you have, you got to go through bad stuff, hard stuff. But the Lord is with us in the hard stuff. And I also think that the Lord is preparing us, his church, by allowing us to go through the trials to make us strong, because we do not know what is coming. And we need to get strong, all of us, no matter how old you are, young or old. We need to be strong in the Lord. We need to be committed to God. We need to be committed to whatever it is that he has for us in the future. So anyway, I was reading in my Bible, and Psalm 46 is the psalm that the Lord spoke to me through. And he helped me to make these things personal, because I've lived through them. And I know that this is true, and I know that God will never leave me, and that I will never leave him, because I know he's true and real. And we all have to go through trials because they make us strong. And we have to be able to endure whatever is to come. So, in America, and at Disney World, we're all supposed to live happily ever after. Well, that's in heaven. That's not here on the earth. And we're all searching and going after this dream to be happy, living happily ever after here. And really, we get some happiness here, don't get me wrong, but happily ever after is in heaven with Jesus. And that's really where it happens. So anyway, we're going to talk about Psalm 46. So we'll read it in a minute, but I want to tell you a little bit about this psalm. As I started researching the psalm, I found out that the psalm, every psalm is a song. So you could sing it. I've tried to sing psalms. They're hard to sing. You have to get a melody down, and then you've got to try to make the words fit to that melody, and it's a little hard. But, just for fun, walk around your house singing a psalm. Just sing the words. It doesn't matter if it doesn't sound good. Just sing. They don't fit into a nice little, rhyming thing. Just sing them. So anyway, it is a song, it says, by the descendants. For the choir director, it says, if you follow on your paper, for the choir director, a song by the descendants of Korah. And so it is a song, and it was written by the descendants of Korah. Does anybody know who Korah was in the Bible? Who was Korah? Does anybody have a clue? Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, they were three guys when the Israelites were in the wilderness. They were three guys. They were Levites who worked in the temple. But they didn't like the fact that they just worked in the temple. They wanted to be the big guys. They wanted to be the priest. So they wanted to be like Aaron and his sons. So they started an uprising, 250 of them, and they came to Moses and said, we're just as important as them, and we should be able to be priests too. And Moses says, well, God has to choose. So God chose Aaron and his sons to be the priests, and Korah and his family, and all the people that followed Korah. Moses says, well, God will choose, and if whoever's not the whoever's wrong here, the earth is going to open up and swallow you. So the earth opened up and swallowed Korah and all his family and all the people who were on his side. And so God chose, right? God chose. So Korah's sons, his descendants, are the ones who write this psalm. And what's interesting about this is that, if you have people in your family that do bad things, they kind of make you feel a little embarrassed, right? Because you're feeling like, well, I didn't do it, but they did it, and you're associated with them. So here are these sons of Korah, and they write actually 11 psalms in the Bible. And even though their family members failed in their choices, they still had their devotion to God, despite their family failures. And we have to have devotion to the Lord, regardless of what our families do, or family members do. They also, the sons of Korah, served in the temple, so they helped with the all the different jobs in the temple. So they were obedient in the small tasks given by God. They weren't the priests, the high priests or the priests, but they served in the temple. So they were obedient in small tasks. They were humble. You notice it says the sons of Korah. It doesn't tell you who they are. It doesn't tell you their names or anything. It just says the sons of Korah. So there's some humility in there because they recognize me. And also, they had an awe for God. They served in the temple. They wrote 11 Psalms, 42, 44 through 49, 84, 85, 87, and 88. I have to tell you all that because I looked it up. So anyway, they had an awe for God. And so it says here, so that's a little bit about the people who wrote the psalm. So it says, for the choir director, a song by the descendants of Korah, according to Alamoth. So what is Alamoth? So I looked this up, and I found out that Alamoth, the etymology of this word and the meaning of this word, it says it's a bunch of giggling girls. A bunch of giggling girls. It is from the verb alam, to be concealed, to be youthful, to be hidden, but poised to burst forth. That's what it says. The term Alamoth appears twice in the Bible. It's a musical term. It's contrasted with Sheminith in 1 Chronicles 15, 20 to 21. And they both have to do with the way harps and lyres are small harps, were tuned or played. Alamoth appears in Psalm 46:1. Alamoth describes the sound coming from a myriad of lyres, which, not liars like you're telling a lie, the instrument lyres. And it says myriad is a countless or extremely great number. So there were a lot of lyres and harps playing here, right? So it says it describes the sound from a myriad of lyres that sound like a myriad of girls giggling, very happy, full of life, and governed merely by the mesmerizing chaos of unrestricted harmony. So could you imagine all of these harps and lyres sounding like a bunch of giggling girls? Kind of cool, isn't it? So anyway, that's what it means. That's what Alamoth means, right? And in the Hebrew culture, Charles and I were having a conversation because I said to him, okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to talk about. Tell me if anything's not true, because I don't want to say the wrong thing, right? So just listen to what I'm saying. And so I said, well, it couldn't have been girls singing the songs. Because in Hebrew culture and stuff, wouldn't it have been, everything was about guys doing it. He says, no, that's not true. He said in Hebrew culture, girls were given more place in the culture than in the Greek culture. It was the Greek culture where girls were not allowed to. It was more man-driven, male-driven. He said, but in the Hebrew culture, we see girls being involved in worship and all the different things. So there could have been girls singing in this psalm, singing the psalm too. In fact, we see in Hebrew culture, we see there were prophets, prophetesses. There was Deborah. There was Miriam danced before the Lord. Miriam had a voice. If women didn't have a place, then she would have not been allowed to dance in the wilderness when they were in the wilderness. They wouldn't have accepted it, but she danced. We see the prophet Huldah. We see Noadiah. We see Anna in the temple with Simeon when Jesus came. We see Philip's virgin daughters who were prophetesses. They prophesied. So girls had a place in that culture. Maybe not as much as free as we are today, but they had a place, and that they were listened to, and they were part of the culture. And we see in the Bible too, women who managed their homes and had businesses and did different things. So some of that was Greek, but also Hebrew as well. So anyway, so we know that they celebrated women in that culture. It says that the psalm may have been written during a time when Sennacherib was making war against Jerusalem. And that's in the book of 2 Kings 18 and 19. And if you read the story there, what we see happening, and this will probably help us in figuring out what this psalm is about. What we see is that Sennacherib comes, the Assyrian army comes to take over Judah. And Hezekiah is the king, and he's afraid, and he prays to the Lord, and he makes, you go read the story, I'm going to make it short. He prays and stuff, and basically what ends up happening is that God, through the prophet Isaiah, says, don't you worry, they're not going to get you. Don't you worry, you will not have to fight them. And they go out to see what's going on the day after they've prayed, and God says it's fine, and they see that the Lord sends a spirit, that a spirit over the Assyrians, and they're all slain, they're all killed, and they come out to see what's happening, and everybody's dead because God intervened in their situation and he protected them. So you can read it and get the story there. But anyway, he destroys the Assyrian army. And the other thing about the history of the psalm is that it has 3 stanzas. And at the end of every stanza, you see the word Selah. And the Selah means it's a pause or break in the singing of the song that wants us to think or meditate on the truth that we just sang. So it is also greatness of thought in the psalm and is worthy of pause and careful thought. So here they would sing the first the first verses, which are, I have it written down somewhere. They would, I think it's 1 through 3, and then they'd stop and they'd pause and they'd think about what they sang, and they let it get into their mind. So we're singing. Everybody read it with me. It says Psalm 46:1. Are you ready? For the choir director, a song by the descendants of Korah, according to Alamoth. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in times of trouble. That is why we are not afraid, even when the earth quakes or the mountains topple into the depths of the sea. Water roars and foams, and mountains shake at the surging waves. Selah. And they'd stop singing. They'd think about it. What did we just hear about God? So we're going to talk about what did we just hear about God. And this first part of the psalm is that God is present among his people. Guys, God is present among us today. It says that God is our refuge and strength. But the word refuge appears 88 times in the Bible. That God is our shelter or protection from danger or distress. A safe place in the time of difficulties. So God is our refuge. And here it says refuge is defined as shelter or protection from danger, trouble, etc. A place of shelter, protection, or safety. Anything to which one has recourse for aid, relief, or escape. Through this, we see how God is our refuge. The world can be a dangerous place, and the Bible talks about how God can be our refuge. So the first thing I want to talk about is that God is our refuge. He's our shelter. He's our protection. He is with us. We are safe because God is our refuge. And then it says, and strength. He is our strength. He is our might. He is our power. He gives us boldness. God is our strength today, people. He is our strength and our might. And then it says, an ever-present help in times of trouble. He is our ever-present help in times of trouble. And I loved this because an ever-present help, always ready. God is always ready to be there with us. He is enough. He is everything that we need. We are conscious of the nearness of God. So when you're in trouble, I don't know about you, when you're in trouble, what I usually, first thing I do is go, Jesus, help me. Jesus, take care of the situation. Jesus, we need you. He's always there. He's always near. He's ever present. No matter where you're going, where you are, what you're doing, whatever, God is always ever present to help us. So we see that he's our refuge. We see he's our strength. We see that he is our ever present help, always ready, enough. He is enough. You don't have to go find somebody else to help you with it. God is enough. He will help you through it. He will be near you. And it says, ever-present help in times of trouble, in times of trouble, in times of adversity, in times of affliction, in times of anguish, in times of trial. God is with you. And then it says, that is why we are not afraid. We are not afraid. Everybody say that. We are not afraid. Say it again. We are not afraid. And you know what? When you feel afraid, what are you supposed to do? Call on the Lord, but you need to declare it. I am not afraid because the Lord is with me. And that's the verse it's Psalm 40 something. I can't remember it. I wrote it down, but I didn't bring it with me. But one of my life verses right now is, what time I am afraid, I will trust in you. And every time you feel fear grip your heart, I go, what time I am afraid, Lord, I will trust in you because you are with me. And that one encourages me, but the one that gets me is I think it's in Timothy, but it says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And that verse, when I think about that, whenever I quote it, I go, God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And it just gives me strength to know that I don't have to be controlled by fear. I don't have to be controlled by anxiety because God has not given me that. And he is able to bring peace to my heart in the midst of whatever the trouble is. But we are not afraid because I wrote this down. We are not afraid of distress or tribulation. When it comes, it comes. We will not fear is the logic of faith. If I have faith, then it means I should not fear. Now, I know we're human and we fear, but the logic of faith says that I will not fear. If God is all this, all that this psalm is telling us, we have no logical reason to fear because he is greater than all our calamities, all our tragedies, all our stuff. And that sound mind part of that verse says that I don't think with my emotions, I think with my mind, and I think knowing that God is in control. For God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and of a sound mind. And that means I don't run around freaking out, but instead I hold on to him and I go, okay, God, what do you want me to do? What is the thing I need to do in this situation? And ask him to show me. Ask him to help you, and he will help you. So it says, if God is all of this, he is my refuge. He is my strength. He is my ever-present help. He is near me. I am not afraid. If all of these things are true about God, then there's no logical reason to fear because he's greater than all of it. So then it says, waters, that is why we are not afraid, even when the earthquakes or the mountains topple into the depths of the sea. Have you been hearing stuff in the news about all these kinds of things? You know, earthquake here, hurricane here, this there, so many things going on, but we're not afraid. Even when the earthquakes or the mountains topple into the depths of the sea. Waters roars and foams, and mountains shake at the surging waves. Selah, Stop and think about it. I'm not afraid because God is with me. He is my security. He is the one who's going to take care of me. And then it says, so we paused and we thought about what God had to say in those verses. So then it says, I want to make sure I didn't forget something here. It says, okay, I'll get to that. All right. So then it says in verses 4 through 6, it says this is about the peaceful provision of God. So let's read 4 through 6. Are you guys ready? There is a river whose streams bring joy to the city of God, the holy place where the Most High lives. God is in that city. It cannot fall. God will help it at the break of dawn. Nations are in turmoil and kingdoms topple. The earth melts at the sound of God's voice. The Lord of armies is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. Selah. Stop and pause. Think about it again. So let's go back to verse, God is the 4. So God, there is a river whose streams bring joy to the city of God, the holy place where the Most High lives. God is the river that we need, guys. If we walk in the river, we swim in the river of the Lord, he will bring us joy. Do you know that Jerusalem, I was looking at it, Jerusalem does not have a river. They have an underground stream and called Gihon, or Gihon, I don't know which way they pronounce it, Gihon, which has been gurgling since before King David's time, this underground stream. And they don't get their water from the stream anymore, but they actually have to bring water in from a city 25 miles away. And they don't have that water, but if they live within God's river, they will have everything. If we will live within God's river, we will have everything we need. And I wrote this down. Our deficiencies gives more room for God's all-sufficiency. Whatever we're lacking in, it's okay, because God has more than enough for everything that we need. So God is with us. We cannot fall if we trust him. He is El Elyon, the supreme God. We cannot fall, guys, if we trust the Lord. He is with us and we will not fall. It doesn't mean, I'm not talking about, even if you make a mistake, you pick yourself up and you keep moving on, because you're not going to fall, because Jesus is with you and he's going to help you through whatever that thing is. And then it says, so the Lord is the river. And when we walk in Jesus and we live in him, we live in the Lord, he gives us the joy no matter what's going on in our lives. No matter how hard it is, no matter how bad it is, we have this joy, we have this confidence, because we know that he is with us. And it says, so there is a river whose streams bring joy to the city of God, the holy place where the Most High lives. The holy place where the Most High lives. Does he live in you? Does the Most High live in you? You're going to have that joy because he's there with you. God is in that city. Is God inside of you? It cannot fall. God will help it at the break of dawn. The Lord is with you. He will help you every day. Every day, as you get up, as you do whatever you have to do, he will be with you. Nations are in turmoil and kingdoms topple. The earth melts at the sound of God's voice. So then let's see. So now we're getting down to all of that was, about we don't have to fear what goes on around us. In America today, COVID and the government and all the things that are happening in our land today, we don't have to be afraid. We need to trust the Lord that he's going to take care of all of it, that we are safe and secure because we belong to him. It says in 4:7 now, it says, so the Lord of armies is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold, Selah. And so the Lord of armies, this is what I found out. So that Lord of armies is Yahweh Sabaoth, the commander of armies. He is the commander of armies. The Lord of armies is with us. He's the universal ruler over every force in heaven and earth, whose vast angelic armies could deliver them from trouble. He assures us of the power of our mighty God. He is our stronghold, refuge, high tower. The high tower is inaccessible heights that nothing can get to us, because he is our high tower. He's our high stronghold. He is our defense. And so the Lord of armies is with us. the universal ruler over every force of heaven and earth. Think about that for a minute. I don't think we even could grasp that the Lord of armies is with us. He is ruler over everything, every single thing. He is ruler over Satan. We are safe because he is our God and he is with us. So then verses, 8. Come see the works of the Lord, the devastation he has brought to the earth. He puts an end to wars all over the earth. He breaks an archer's bow. He cuts spears in two. He burns chariots. And this would come in to be the part about Sennacherib and the army, Assyrian army was destroyed, and they went outside and there they saw it. They saw that there was no war. They saw that he breaks the archer's bow. All those men who, whatever they did to kill themselves, they all died because they were probably fighting each other. Who knows what they were doing? He cuts the spears in two. All the chariots were burnt. Everything was devastated because God did something for them. God took care of them. In fact, it says, come and see the astonishing things God does. The ruin, and they were astonished because they were like, wow, we didn't even fight, and look at what God did for us. And so they were astonished. And then it says, let go of your concerns. Everybody read 10 with me. Let go of your concerns, then you will know that I am God. I rule the nations. I rule the earth. Let's talk about that first. Let go of your concerns. In other translations, it says, be still and know that I am God. I rule the nations. I rule the earth. As you know the glory and greatness of God, he says, so before we do that, I want to say this. So let go of your concerns. Then you will know that I am God. So, as you know the glory and greatness of God, stop your mouth from arguing and opposing him. Simply surrender to the one and only God. And don't we do that with God? We argue and we oppose. Well, God, I want you to do this. This is how I think you could fix it. This is how I think it should be. And Lord, if you would just do this and this and this and this, everything would be wonderful. You know, if you would just do it my way, Lord, I wouldn't have to go through any pain or anguish. And that's really what it's all about. It's me not having pain or anguish, Lord, because I just don't want to suffer. You know, but we are going to suffer because what does the Bible tell us? Jesus suffered and he's our Lord and Master. We are going to suffer too. And I think in our American culture, we don't like suffering. It's not something we want to do. But in other countries, people are suffering. And who are we to think that we will not suffer? We will suffer. And suffering comes through trials. And sometimes some of the suffering is really bad. But it comes through the trials. But it's part of us becoming like Jesus, suffering. So he says, be still and know that I am God. Let go of your concerns. Then you will know that I am God. Don't argue with me. Don't fight with me. Don't tell me what to do. Trust me that what I'm doing in your life and what I'm doing in the people around you is for your good. It is for your good. So he says, the Lord of armies, verse 11, the Lord of armies is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. The Lord of armies is with us. The God of armies. He is the God of the army. And then you see it says the God of Jacob. He is the God of the individual. Jacob was just a guy. He was a shabby character too. He stole his brother's birthright. He was not the best of guys, right? He did a lot of things that weren't right. But God loved him anyway, and he chose to follow God. So he's the God of the army. The Lord of armies is with us, but he's also of all of us together, but he's the God of you, individual. He loves you, individual. And it says, the Lord of armies is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. The God of armies, he's the God of the individual. John Wesley, when he was dying on his deathbed, he couldn't speak, hardly could get anything out. And finally, as he was dying and going to heaven, he said, and he raised his hand in triumph, and he said, the best of all, God is with us. The best of all, God is with us. And guys, God is with us. He will help us. Can you pull up the pictures for me now? God is with us. And I did some pictures because I wanted to get this point across to you. That it says that the Lord is our, let me see, I have my list here. These were all the words. When I think of Jesus and when I talk to him, I always say things to him like, you know, Lord, you are my hiding place. Lord, you are my buckler. This is a buckler, okay? This is what a buckler would have looked like in Bible times. So you are my buckler. So what I found out about the buckler, I wrote things down here about this. What I found out is the buckler is small, right? It's smaller. And there's some that are bigger, but usually it's smaller. And it has you can hold on to it and like this. And then when you're in battle, it just wards off the enemy's sword or whatever. But what's cool about the buckler is that you can move faster than with a big shield, right? So next picture. So that's a buckler. That's a buckler. Isn't that kind of cool? That one's kind of fancy shaped. I don't know if I like it, but I like the round one better, but that's a buckler. Okay, next one. That's a buckler too. Smaller. And then the next one is the back of the buckler to show you how they held on to it. But the Bible tells us that God is our buckler. He's our shield. He's always ever present. And I thought, for me, ever present in that point was like when the enemy's shooting the darts at you, that the Lord is ever present there with you, and He's the buckler around you, and the darts are coming, but God is fast, and He can ward off the darts of the enemy. He's our buckler. Okay, next one. It says He's our shield. Look at these shields, and look at how they would do it for battle. Isn't that kind of cool? That they would all, and there's a guy under there in front of every shield on the bottom, and then there's a guy, because you can see his leg. Can you see it? Yeah, and then there are guys behind, and so it says that the Lord is our shield. So I'm a visual type person, so I see this. The Lord is my shield. You are my shield, Lord. You're protecting me, but He's not just protecting me from the front. Let's go to the next one. He's protecting us all the way around. And look at those shields. I think those are cool, and they have them on their heads too. So the darts are flying, and they only are going to get them if they go through the spaces. So God is our buckler. He's our shield. Next one. Here's some more shields. I'm so glad I wasn't born in that time. It would be terrible, wouldn't it? To have to go to battle and stuff. But I'm a girl. I wouldn't have to go. So, hey, only the boys, right? Okay, next one. He's our shield. So let me look at I saw this cute thing on there. It says, God is for us. Who can be against us? We are more than conquerors through Christ who loved us. And then see the arrows going, your shield of faith. And they're coming, the lies, the threats, the ridicule, the accusations, the temptations, the persecution, the hardship. And so just to give us a picture that God is our shield, that He's there, and He's that buckler that's every time those darts are coming, He's moving. And then He's the shield as well, that He's protecting me. And there were, let's go to the next one. Some more shields. Okay, keep going. Okay, so now, one thing I saw, and I didn't think I got a picture, but there was a shield that kind of went like this around you. So there was just a little spot. But God is our shield. He's all around us. He's all around us. And then it says, He's our high tower. He's our, let's see, what did I write about that? He's our high tower. So I read somewhere where it said that we're in that, He's our high tower. He's up there and we're with Him. And there's this wall around us, around the high tower. And the enemy can't get to us because He's in there with us. Next picture. And this is it's called Thessaloniki today. But this is Thessalonica in the Bible. I was right there. When we went to Greece, we were right there. We were standing like right in front of the tower on the ground. And it was an amazing little city, amazing big city. And the whole city had a wall around it. And then there was this tower, and God is our high tower. We are safe. And God is so high that He looks down and He sees everything about us. He sees into our souls. And He watches over us. He is our high tower, and He watches on the walls to see when the enemy is coming. And He protects us because He's our high tower, and we're right in the middle of all of that. What's my next picture? I don't remember. Oh, and I just love this picture because this picture scares me. And God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. And this picture scares me because that guy is crazy, right? Have you all seen that picture, haven't you? I think it's awesome. It's frightening, absolutely frightening to me. And so I just think when the water starts coming up, you must run in and close the door, right? And but I would hate that. I would absolutely hate that. But God is our refuge. He is our strength. He's our ever-present help. And so today I just want to close by saying that, trying to find my notes here. I want to paint that picture that God is a high tower and he stands high above all that is. The Lord sits on his heavenly throne. Because of the elevation of his thoughts and motives, he sees our every move. He looks to the depths of our souls. He is the watchman on the watchtower wall. He watches for the enemy to come. So whatever it is you're going to go through, whatever the trial or temptation, God is watching. He knows that you have the power within you because he lives, the Most High lives in you, that you have the power within you to fight off the enemy because he is with you and he's watching. He's our buckler. It's a portable shield, a shield surrounding the person, the targe or round form. So there was one called a targe and it was a round form, and God is he's a large shield protecting the whole body. He's a fortress. Just as a fortress brought peace to a city, God is our fortress and brings peace to our souls in the midst of the chaos happening around us. In an ever-changing world filled with all manner of danger, David reminds us that God is our refuge and strength, our ever-present help in times of trouble. Shields were suspended above public buildings. You know, they'd have like a shield in front of the building for ornamental purposes. But in the Bible, a shield generally represents the protection of God. And then a stronghold. God is our shelter, our protection, our stronghold, a defensive structure, lofty or inaccessible place. Figuratively, a refuge or defense, high fort or tower. So that would be the one before of Thessalonica, the tower. It's a defensive structure and it's inaccessible, that they can't get into it. And that's where we are with the Lord, that he is taking care of us. So today I want to encourage you, and I want you to know that no matter what you're going through, we may not know the whys. And I don't know the whys of the trials of my life. But maybe it's time to stop asking why. And it's time to say, God, whatever you want to do is okay with me. Because, Lord, I trust you. Because I know that you are my refuge and strength. I know that you are my high tower. I know that you are my buckler. I know that you are my shield. I know, Lord, that you are ever present. You are always with me. And Lord, I am so glad that I am safe in your arms. I am safe because I am protected by you no matter what the enemy does, no matter how he rages. It does not matter because you are with me and I will be okay. And so today, you are secure, people. You are secure in Jesus because he cares about you and his word tells us what he does for us. We can choose. We can be mad at God about the hard things we're going through, which is not a good place to be. We can choose to trust him, stop arguing about it and opposing him, and just surrender and say, God, whatever you want, it's okay with me. And don't ask the whys in your trial, remembering that he is our refuge, our strength, our ever-present help, our stronghold, our shield, our buckler, our high tower. Do we really believe it? Do we believe that he's all of those things? And if we believe it, then we've got to ask him, Lord, help me to live it. Help me to really live like I believe those things, that you are my shield, you are my buckler, you are my refuge, you are my high tower. You are everything, Lord, that I need. So will you close your eyes with me today? And let's just talk to the Lord for a minute. Lord, we love your word because your word is truth. And Lord, your word tells us, Lord, that you are our refuge and strength and ever-present help in times of trouble. That is why we do not need to be afraid. No matter what happens, Lord, we do not need to be afraid because you are with us. You are in this city, Lord, with us. We will not fall. No matter what, we will not fall because you will come and help us, Lord. You will help us. The Lord of Armies is with us. You are our stronghold. Lord, we let go of our concerns today. We give them to you. We cast all our cares on you because you care for us. And Lord, we know today that you are God, and we can rest in that you are working all things together for our good, for the good of our family members. And even though we have to be along for the ride, Lord, you're changing us in the process. You're teaching us to be strong. You're teaching us to trust you. You're teaching us to know, God, that you are with us, ever present in our situations. And today, Lord, I pray for all of us here and for those who will listen online, whatever the problem is, whatever the trial is today, Lord, we give it to you. And we trust you, God, that you're going to take care of us. I pray that we will all get a sense, Lord, of how secure we really are in you. How much you love us. How much you take care of us. How much you want us to trust you, to be still and to know, to let go of our concerns and to know that you are God today. So I pray for all of us, from the youngest person in this room to the oldest person in this room today, and those listening, that we would just let go and let you be God over our lives. That we would stop controlling it and fighting to control it. And we would just be happy people, resting in our God, trusting in our refuge, trusting in our high tower, trusting in our buckler, trusting in our hiding place, trusting in our fortress, trusting, Lord, that you are God. So, Lord, we praise you today and we worship you today. We love you today. And I want you to just take a moment and you personally tell Jesus how you feel about him right now. I love you. I just love you, Lord. Just worship you. Just praise you. Thank you for being with us today, Jesus. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. No matter what happens, we are not afraid. Thank you, God. In your name we pray. Amen. So I hope I said everything I was supposed to. That's it.